Hello, and please be welcome, everybody, to our last Esade Stay Connected. Today's session is a part of Esade Stay Connected platform, through which we have offered around 50 webinar sessions over the last 3 months, over 200,000 views in LinkedIn Live. Our aim with these webinars has been to share our academic knowledge and experience, and we are delighted to have been followed by executives, academics, and general public during these critical months. I sincerely hope that you have found these webinars valuable. And today, as I said in my initial welcome, we are running the last Stay Connected webinar, but we are not disconnecting. We create this platform to stay connected with you during quarantine, and now it's time to move on and move to the next step. From next week on, we invite you to follow us on our new permanent webinar platform named Do Better Connected. Today, we have the opportunity and the personal pleasure to talk with Oscar Torres, Academic Director of the B2B Management Program at Esade Executive Education. Okay, he will explain us and he will help us to his vision of the B2B business and his passion of this ecosystem named B2B. Remember that at the end of the chat, we have, as we have been doing on our webinar, we will open a debate with our audience with the questions that you ask us through the YouTube and LinkedIn social networks. So, Oscar, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here in our last Stay Connected, last but not least.
Really?
So it's going to be great to share with you some ideas around the B2B relationships.
Okay, so it's very special that to be the last one. Really, it's been 3 very intensive months for quarantine. We just put on going this platform, Stay Connected Esade, and it's been very interesting to share with all our followers and public all the different knowledges of our professors. So let me introduce you a bit, Oscar, for the audience, so that they do know who you are. Oscar has been in the industry in companies like Valeo, Coca-Cola, Derby for more than 10 years, and he also has been an expat in China. I think very interesting. He joined SolidWorks, a software company where he learned how to develop their B2B channel partnership. Its role was to help them. It was a kind of a startup at that moment to produce a better and more predictable and scalable business to move from being a startup, as I said, to move to the next level. Nowadays, Oscar works for a very big company. It's called Dassault Systems, which is the second largest European software company after SAP. Dassault Systems is a listed French company, which is listed in the K40, where he leads the channel development activities in a worldwide level. I would say Oscar is a very passionate person, as far as I know him, and I know him very well. He's very passionate about B2B. On top of that, Oscar is the president of the Spanish B2B Sales and Marketing Association. He also he was the founder of the consultancy group of Just B2B. And he has also, as I said before at the beginning of my introduction, he created the B2B management program at Esade, a unique program that we have the pleasure to run at Esade Executive Education, 100% focused in B2B for top management, focused very especially on CEO people. This program has been a great success over the 14 editions already since 2016, and more than 300 top executives attending to this program. Okay, so a few months ago, in December, Oscar published an article, very interesting article, on Forbes magazine called B2B: How to Lead Your Company Growth Strategy. And today we are going to discuss this post-COVID vision of this article to the new context. Okay, so Oscar, let's go for it. Okay, so let's go to the point, Oscar. Just to be sure, what's B2B?
Okay, I think we already have heard like 25 times the word B2B, so I hope you're ready. Yeah, B2B is whatever is not B2C. Okay, so what is B2C? So for me, B2C is when you produce products or services that they end into the hands of the consumer, and upside down. B2B is when those solutions are focused on a company. So when we are really offering something to a company after understanding what is their situation, and we offer a solution that fixes a specific problem in a company. This is what is B2B for me. Sometimes we consider that because we sell these consumer goods products through a retailer like a Walmart, this is B2B. For me, this is just a retailer. But what is the pure B2B relationship is when the end customer is a business and they are going to consume the products and services that we are providing to them.
Okay, so good. So sometimes there are a bit mix of B2B and B2C, no? I mean, people says, okay, this is B2B, this is B2C. So which is your critical difference between B2B and B2C? I think you already mentioned it, but would you like to do some special focus on the critical difference between these two Bs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the real the key difference that changed, I would say, that changed many things, is the fact that in the real B2B, the buyer, the C-level, the executive that takes the decision pays with the company's money. So the money comes from the pocket of the company, and this little detail makes a big difference, because in terms of decision-making process, they are going to absolutely measure the risk to trust us. And these three elements, the money coming from the company, the risk management, and the trust generation, it's going to be fundamental to rethink the way we organize our company towards this trust creation or generation.
Okay, Oscar, I think these 3 points are very interesting to understand what's B2B or what's B2C. Also, over top, how important is B2B when you talk with a company. So I heard you several times, you're spreading a concept that you call B2B mix. Could you elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, in fact, the B2B mix is, the word mix is just to challenge a little bit the fundamental concept of marketing mix. And the idea behind it was really to challenge this concept. So C-levels, executives in general, they are highly educated on the marketing mix concept, which is which product at which price, in which place, and what will be the promotion. And I've been always challenging that this doesn't fit with B2B. For me, in B2B, what is really relevant is not that much the product, but it's for sure the solution that it's going to be provided to a specific situation for one account, for one company. Then the second element, it's going to be not that much the brand concept, the B2C brand concept, but for sure the credibility of the company behind the solution. And the third element of the B2B mix will be the people that they as decision makers, they have enjoyed during the decision making process. So these people is going to be really part of what they are going to buy, and part of what they are really going to enjoy. So if it's not the product but the solution, if it's not the brand but the company, and if it's the people, C-level CEOs of B2B companies, they really need to consider how they generate trust for these three elements: trust for the solution, trust on the company, and trust of their people when they face our clients.
Okay. Oh, great, Oscar. Thank you very much. There is another quote. So I listened to you many times in your speaks, in your classes. So there is another quote I like a lot that I heard from you several times, that you said something like this, like better, predictable, and scalable business in organization is an outcome. What are your key advices to owners of companies or CEOs that are listed, that are listening to us about adapting their management models on their B2B companies to achieve this quote, the better, predictable, and scalable businesses.
Yeah, that quote, it's very related to my past or my origin at this scale up called SolidWorks. When I was hired there, the ultimate goal was to really help those resellers, that they have to resell our software, not to sell more only, but to become absolutely better sellers, organizations, better selling organizations, more predictable, because we were on a startup, but we were part of a listed company, so we had to be predictable. And finally, and very important, that we had a method behind to be scalable. So this is the why of this quote. And I always connect this better, predictable, and scalable business to rethink the organization. So I like this quote, but I use another one which is absolutely related to this one, which is sellers have to sell, sales managers make sellers, and CEO creates the conditions. So I truly believe that you should start by creating the conditions top down from the CEO. So in this article, I was working like 5 key elements of these for the CEOs or in B2B companies to create these conditions to produce this type of business. The first element is truly understand that we in B2B we are in the people business. So part of a very important part of what we are selling, it's our people. And this has a huge implications from a company point of view, because at the end of the day, when this CEO in a factory in Germany is requesting the professional services of a lawyer firm to be advised on an M&A, this person is going to for sure understand if this company has the capability to offer to them a good solution. This decision maker will double check if the company, if the company is credible. But at the end of the day, this CEO trying to get the services of this lawyer company, it's really going to think if I trust in this person. So trust is going to become so important in B2B relationships that then suddenly we reflect on the fact that if trust is so important, if the people business is going to be such incredible part of the equation, then suddenly the culture, it's going to be part of what we are selling. Okay, so that's the first point. People business and our culture is going to be critical. The second element is to run away from the concept that some sellers, they made us believe that selling is an art. Selling for sure is not an art, because the B2B relationship can be mapped as a process, as a bi-directional process, if you want, with the selling effort and the buying awareness of the lack of competence. So in some way, we are helping the buyer, this C-level, to recognize that there are some parts of their contact that they need to be fixed. And then we make an effort in this B2B relationship to help those people to realize that they have those issues. So the second key element is that everybody in the company understands that the B2B relationship should be mapped, should be considered as a bidirectional process. The third element, which is critical from a CEO point of view, is that it's very important that sales management it's executed based on data. We need data for sure to monitor the business, but we need data as well to monitor the execution of the sales team, and as well to monitor the skills of the sales team. So that's the third element. If we want to become a better, predictable, and scalable business, we have to stop doing sales management, which is too based on a nice conversation, and we need to land into something which is closer to science, right? The fourth key element for CEOs in B2B companies will be the fact that they have to reflect that there is a strategic tool called marketing B2B, and it's not more difficult than marketing B2C. I'm sure it's super complicated to bring the new flavor of a yogurt Danone in my kitchen, but it's just different. So B2B marketing is just different. That's the point. So reflecting on the type of marketing that we do for the B2B relationship, it's going to be critical, because the key factor for us in related to marketing is going to help to us to demonstrate that we are not lying. I remember when we were in a startup, in a scale up, I used to tell to my marketing managers, you have to help to me with content to demonstrate to the decision makers that we are not lying, because their duty is to don't believe us. So marketing will contribute with content to demonstrate that we are able to deliver the value that we are promising. Marketing will contribute to generate, to spread the word of this value that we are able to deliver, and naturally to do inbound marketing to create this awareness about our knowledge, and consequently to get leads. Okay, that's the fourth element. The fifth element is that every single person in the company, starting by the CEO, understands that we don't sell products, we sell contextual value. Our clients don't care about our products. Our clients, they care about the value we are able to deliver to a specific and to an understanding of the context of their companies. So imagine that everybody in the company understands that the best product in the world is going to be useless if we are not able to simplify the product to a very lean simplification of what is really relevant for this buyer. This is critical because B2C, it's product based, and B2B is going to be people based and value based, because we have this capability to go account by account, understanding their situation.
Okay, Oscar. So you did a big picture of the situation actually. So it looks like you just sent some homework for CEOs. And you mentioned that sales managers have to make sellers. You just said that sentence. What happens when the sales director is not dedicated to make sellers?
Well, when this happens, you are just killing your chances and possibilities to become predictable and scalable. In some way, a good sales manager don't have to be the best seller, but has to be the person which has higher level of passion to educate people. And if you find this type of profile in your company, this is the one which is going to be a great leader for the sales team. Because at the end of the day, if we are selling people, you have to have one function which is really focused on producing these people, right? When you have a sales manager able to do that, you will be able to bring your sellers to the next level. You will be able to implement certain techniques to become more predictable. And suddenly, if you are doing these first two things, this is the real next step to become more scalable.
Okay, so thank you very much. You said B2C is about products, B2B is about people. We are in the people business. I have heard you other times that there is a need for a specific culture for B2B companies. So how much does your culture influence your business then when you are a B2B?
I think it's very interesting because as you mentioned before, we have been running this B2B management program for 14 editions. In fact, next Monday, we start the 15th and we are sold out. So it's fantastic. It's as you said, my passion. It's getting a great rewarding. In some way, when I reflect with the attendees to my program from 4 years ago, from 3 years ago, and they reflect on this management model that we are from Esade, that we are really sharing and spreading the word. One of the things that they said, which is super interesting, and this is why I was highlighting the culture thing, is that these 5 elements I share with you guys, they are the right things to do, and they are the right things to do together. So you cannot do one thing or another thing. You have to do everything to really get the model to work and produce this better, predictable, and scalable business. But the soft thing around the model is the culture. The culture will be the real critical thing that is going to make a difference, because many of the relationships happening with your clients are going to happen outdoor. They are not going to happen in-house. They are going to happen one-to-one. So as you cannot micromanage people, it's very important that CEOs and C-levels, they reflect on the way that they behave, on their mindset. And because part of what the buyer is going to buy, it's going to be our behavior, right? Because our behavior is going to produce trust or not, right? Credibility. Our behavior of credibility is going to produce trust or not. Reliability, okay? If we are making a sales call and we are doing the minutes of the meeting 10 minutes after the sales call, our reliability is going up. So suddenly the trust is going up. I don't think that you will succeed with these little details of B2B culture by doing a sales training. I think you will succeed with these little details of B2B culture by reflecting on the way you execute as a CEO, as a C-level, and the way you behave. Because whatever you do, whatever leaders do, it's becoming a pattern, a social pattern about what is right, what is wrong, and at the end of the day, the client looking for trust to mitigate this risk, because they pay with companies' money, they are going to measure and consider your culture as part of what they are buying.
Okay, so thank you very much, Oscar. I'm going to introduce a question that I received from the audience now, because it's connected from something you just said. When you talk about the program, there is a question from someone from the audience called Elena, that she's asking if your program it's not only helping CEOs, but also which kind of help will you offer to mid management?
In my program, I would say that 50% of the attendees, they are either the owner or the managing director. The other 50%, I have basically 40%. They are VP of sales, so people in charge of the team. For sure, in many of these CEOs and owners, once they go through the program, they send some of their executive to listen. I'm not saying that this is not for you if you are not the owner of the company, but I'm saying that it's very, very hard to make the changes that the B2B company needs to make if you don't have the power to do it. So let me give you an example. If you are in charge of marketing, you would love the program for sure. It's great. It's super aligned to what B2B needs to be, right? How the sales team needs to perform, how the sales management needs to do, what the growth strategy that you need to set up with your CEO. But for sure, the program is a trigger of a bunch of changes that need to be made. And then if you cannot make these changes after the program, for sure there is a kind of frustration. This is why I'm saying that. But for sure, everybody who has the interest to learn about this B2B management model is more than welcome. I think you're on mute, Julio.
Thank you very much for your answer. I said there is like a window to apply whatever you learn in a program. I mean, you don't need to apply it right away when you finish a program, but you cannot wait 6 months to apply whatever you learn. You need to apply it in a window. Otherwise, that will remain in some part of the brain, but you need to put on going everything. Okay, so let me do one question to you, one reflection to you. I mean, you talk about B2B in the C level. You talk about B2B in the sales level. You talk about culture. You talk about how to become a better and predictable and scalable business company. About the difference between B2B, B2C, and the B2B mix. But now we are in a very complex moment. We are in that COVID coronavirus context. We've been living here, but we are going to live just after it. That's going to be like a challenge. So how would you think all these ideas you just explained will apply to the post-COVID context?
I think these ideas. It's funny because when we started confinement, I guess that you did. I start catching up with my clients, and I start catching up as well with my alumni. And then talking to the alumni, all the alumni, they were saying to me, "Hey, you for sure the B2B management program is going to be like Big Bang because it's so relevant, right?" So I truly agree with them. So it's absolutely relevant now because think about the situation in a crisis is it brings executives to the transactional thinking. So it's transactional thinking all the time. So you are just running the day, and best case you run the week. Okay. So if 6 months ago you were able to capture the attention from somebody to listen to you, or to even to capturing FaceTime to be able to open the conversation, now companies that they are not very precise on their way to execute the B2B relationship, they are going to struggle. So if they follow the same things that they have been doing for the last 10 years, the last 5 years, they are going naturally to struggle. So this little concept that I used to push as well, which is selling is helping, it's more actual than ever. If this little concept, what I call the A loop, B2B mindset, ask to listen to understand to propose, nowadays is more important than ever. How you can know, how are you going to know if you can help if you don't really understand the situation of the context of the client? And the other thing is that imagine you have a perfect CRM with 1,000 accounts in the CRM, and you had information about the CRM, about those 1,000 accounts. Those 1,000 accounts, wherever you had in the CRM, is not up to date. So you need to do the effort to understand again what is the context of every single company. So I would say that all these ideas, they are more useful than never.
Okay, so sorry, I don't know if I'm mute. Okay, so you just put on top of the table there one thing I just really like that you said, to understand your client context before going to sell in a B2B process. So here's another one of your quotes that I heard many times and I like it, and I personally apply in my professional life. It's called BPR, the BPR concept. And I don't know if you will feel comfortable sharing with us this in 1 minute, this BPR concept that I love it. So I think it's very interesting for our audiences to understand, and which is completely connected to this understanding of the context of your client.
Absolutely, yeah. So, okay, yes, this BPR, which is a very personal thing, almost IP protected. It was my own way. When you work in a startup and you are trying to push your product and nobody knows your product, one day you realize that you need to stop talking about your product and start talking about the problems that your product fix, right? So I still remember 2001 when we were trying to make awareness about our SolidWorks solution. It was almost impossible to get one meeting just pushing the name of the product, right? Then one day you realize that if the product is quite innovative, nobody is going to recognize the product, but probably they will recognize the problem. So then we start doing cold calling, prospecting, awareness about forgetting about the product, but talking about the problem, right? Right after we realized that this opened us the possibility to do to have conversations And then, as they didn't care about the product, they really care about, okay, what is the benefit if we fix this problem, right? So we have the P and the B, the pain and the benefit, right? And the third element of this magic formula that we share in the program, it's for sure the reference. So nobody wants to be the first. Nobody wants to be the one that you are doing the experiment with them. So the reference it's basically a simple sentence from somebody who will already fix the problem and enjoy the benefit, and they are summarizing in a very lean sentence their understanding of the value you were providing. So imagine a company that instead talking about products is able to talk about PBRs. The pain we fix, the benefits we provide, and the opinion of the client. Putting the client in the center, truly putting the client in the center, because it's super funny now. So we are doing that like for 20 years, and now you listen this customer centric. It's, come on, this is truly and real sales, right? It's really helping in B2B when you do this PBR thing. And I think we dedicate like 4 hours in the program for this little detail, because it should be a very important part of the way you structure your business intelligence in your company.
So thank you very much for sharing your IP with I'm sorry to provoke you to share it, but I think it's a very simple concept, but very, very, very important. And you have, and when you work on top of the BPR, then you get a lot of results. So I thought it was a good point to share with our audiences. Okay, so there is a question of someone from our audience. It's called Jorge Almeida, and he's asking, what are the three more important vectors in the training and developing B2B sales people, in your opinion? And if you can put it in order of relevance. I know you are very expert of training people, not in the course, but in your professional career. So you have these three more important vectors when you are training your people.
Okay, this one is hard. First concept, sales training doesn't work. That's the first concept. Organizations, they spend trillions in sales training, and they delegate the development of their sellers to a third party, and this is just a dream. Sales training has to come after you have created the conditions and you have appointed a sales managers that make sellers, and then you hire a sales training. That's the first thing. The second element is that sales training is useless as well if the rest of the company don't understand the B2B culture. So think for a second. If we are selling, if one of the three elements of my B2B mix is the company behind, there is a time when the seller is going to position, I don't know, the operations department. The operations department credibility and reliability is going to be part of what the seller is selling. If the operations VP doesn't understand that he is accountable for some of the things we are selling, then you don't need a great seller. You need a great B2B culture. So I would say that sales training is an illusion. We pay for that, and we have the illusion that we are going to have a shortcut and everything is going. We take it like a medicine. And I think it's much more strong and much more powerful to reflect on how we implement the proper B2B culture on a daily activity. And but this is very hard. That's the problem.
One point, you said B2B culture. Would you say process is important on that selling teams?
I'll give you an example. So systematically, when I was leaving an account in 2001, my boss at SolidWorks was systematically asking to me, what is their pain? When I was leaving this account, systematically, the question was, what is their pain? Is it training? Is it B2B culture? or what is that? It's not sales training. You never learn that in a training. So knowledge remains in your head for 2 weeks. You will understand why this is important in a training, but after through management and through practice, you will put it in your mindset. So this is why I'm pushing on the fact that when you systematically ask to a seller, systematically after every sales call, what is the pain of the client, you do 3 times, and the 4th time you don't need to do it. The seller is going to visit this account looking for pain. If you systematically ask for how much are you going to sell, the seller is going to visit the account talking about product and becoming transactional. So I think that there is, as you said, Julio, there is a huge need of alignment between the processes and the culture. The B2B model, the B2B management model, and the culture that we push top down.
Okay, so fine. I'm going to introduce a question that it's very focused from what you just reflect, but let me share 30 seconds of something that I learned from you in that way. And you said when you sell on B2B, you need to listen to your client. You don't waste the time of your client talking. You just waste the time of your client listening. If you listen, you can understand his pain, and then you can create your selling pitch. So that was a very simple tip that you gave me once, or I heard you that you say it, and I keep it for me, and it's very helpful. So, sorry. The question I want to introduce you, from Alex Molina. He says that it looks like you have a very a big experience in big companies, but having on account that in Spain 95% of the companies are pymes, are less than 10 workers. Is that B2B philosophy applicable to small companies? With the process.
Sure, yeah. So one thing about your comment about the selling, right? About the listening. I remember I teach in Shanghai, and I remember in the wrap up of my elective, one Chinese student saying, "Professor, simple but difficult." So some of the concepts I'm sharing, they are really simple, but they are very difficult to apply because naturally we like to talk. We like to talk about ourselves. We have to know. We have to have self-awareness and self-control to really be concentrated on listening with your eyes. I used to say listening with your eyes, really listening to really understand if we can give a hand. So, and about the question, I think it's a very good question because you could have misunderstood me. Yes, I was working for a scale-up that was part of a listed company, but my resellers, they were sometimes 2 people, just in a startup. So I was scaling up really a startup. Companies with 2, 4 people that now they are over 100. And so I don't see, I would say that all the things that I'm pitching in my program, all the philosophy, all the concepts, that they are very pragmatic. They truly fit in different industries and different size of companies, and the difficulty of implementing that on large companies, it's going to be the culture. In a small company, you can talk to the CEO with a 30 employees. You talk to the CEO and you agree that, hey, from now on, you need to pay attention on these little details of your behavior. Suddenly, everybody is going to reflect on the fact that, oh my gosh, the CEO is asking about what is the pain of the client. So perhaps this is suddenly it's something important, right? In a large company, change 1 comma about the culture is like a dream. So good news is the model fits into the small companies, small and middle businesses. It fits. Bad news is that when you are in a large company, it's going to be harder to implement the culture, but you still can implement the culture in your department, in your ecosystem below you.
Okay, Oscar. So I'm Unmute. Okay. So, Oscar, we are running out of time. There are many questions that we have on the chat. I will send them to you if you want to know what they are asking. But I mean, we are really running out of time. We could be here like for hours talking to you, I think. So thank you very much, Oscar. It has been an enormous pleasure learning from your vision, knowledge, and passion of B2B. That it always been very interesting, but now in the COVID context or after COVID context, it's going to be even more relevant. So I don't know
Thank
if
you.
you want to say something at the end or just say goodbye or whatever.
No, I just want to say that for me it has been a great journey with Esade the last 14 editions. Very impactful, very pragmatic, and a big learning as well, because at the end of the day, I've been involved in executive education for half of my life. But at the end, when you have like 350 companies in front of you using your concepts and your models and your ideas that you test in your field, and they test in their own fields, it's really a great pleasure. I just invite you to go to my LinkedIn profile. You have like a bunch of articles where I develop all these concepts, and I wish you great success in your B2B organization and with your B2B culture. Thank you very much, Julio, for your great facilitation, and keep doing great.
Okay, so thank you very much, Oscar. Thanks for your time and for your connection and your passion. I always said you are always someone with a lot of passion about what you do, and what you do is B2B. So thank you very much. I would like to thank the audience, our Esade faculty as well, and the guests who have kindly participated in our sessions during these last 3 months of Stay Connected Esade. As I mentioned at the beginning, Esade is not disconnecting. On the contrary, we invite you to stay connected, to visit our events on our section on esade.edu website. However, I especially want to highlight a new series of online conversations with an important speakers that we will be launching on our knowledge platform, Do Better Connected. The first webinar will be next June 22nd and will be given by our estimated colleague Javier Solana, president of the Center for Global Economy and Geopolitics, and he will offer us the panoramic view of the world after COVID. So we hope to see you all and Do Better Connected. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being connected, and thank you for being around Esade. Thank you very much. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. And have a nice weekend.